Recession is coming. When it comes to recession, there are a lot of people who actually panic, who think that things are become a really problem in their life. In this video, I am going to share with you how recession can be a big thing for you. In fact, recession where you can make lots of money. So if you want to know what are the things that you can do so to make your life better during recession, then stick around and I'm going to share with you some of the things that it is going to help you during this time. The first thing that we need to do, we need to understand what is a recession. And if you go back to the history, you see that there are several times this recession happened. In one word, recessions means economic slowdown. Every single time this economic slowdown happened, and if you go back to the history, you will see that when the interest rate goes up, that's how this economic slowdown happens. Interest rate goes up, money become expensive, people cannot borrow more money, and things become really tightened and the recession occurs. It is absolutely a life, it is the part and parcel of an economic cycle. In fact, there is a famous video that Ray Dalio created about how the economic works, where he actually explained that how these ups and downs, and eventually the market goes boom and market goes up and then eventually it goes down. If you want to know, then I'll put in the description his link that you can watch that video. So from history, what we can see that it is always going to happen. This time it is slightly different because before this COVID pandemic, during COVID pandemic, government throw lots of money. It's called helicopter money. The money came to people's hand, and let's say for every single dollar that it came, these people can actually borrow 4 times, 5 times of that money, and the interest rate was also low. So as a result, the people could borrow more and more money, and which suit up the inflation. And now we are already seeing that inflation is up, but now we did not earn those money. So what happened is this inflation got up. Now to curb this, government tighten up, and of course the interest rate goes up quite significantly, and then we are seeing this recession is coming now. So from the history, what we can understand that the interest rate goes up and the market goes down. Whereas this time during real estate, though, in terms of real estate, it is slightly different, because the last 2-3 years, particularly in Australia, we did not build as many houses. Because we did not build houses, there is a housing shortage. On top of that, the interest rate was super low. People could borrow more money. Hence, the price is actually shooting up. In fact, it is keep on still going up because of these two factors. But with this interest rate up, it cannot sustain. There will be a time where this downtime is going to come. And during this downtime, the monetary policy, there would be a credit crunch. People will not be able to borrow more money. The lender is not going to lend lots of money because the interest rate is up. They will be nervous as well. The businesses will struggle. If the business struggle, of course, they will have layoffs. And again, that unemployment rate is going to go up during this recession. That being said, how you can make as your advantage? The number one thing that you must do, and you must always think during recession, the cash is a big problem. So the more and more cash you have, the better for you, because things will become cheap and you would be able to buy those things in a much lower price. What can you do today? What are the things that you could do so that you would be able to have that cash buffer? And that is one of the important points, having a cash buffer. And it could be up to you. In my case, I should always think of about 15, 20 or 25% of my net wealth as cash, so that if things turn around, if it goes to south, then at least I am prepared to buy things which will become really cheap. So the history, if you look, during recession, the things are always cheap. The problem is that we do not have much money at that time to buy, which is why you must always load yourself with cash during this time. That's the number one advantage that you must take, is that having a cash, a sufficient amount of cash during this time. The second advantage that you can take is cutting down a lot of your unnecessary expenses. Whether it's your personal expenses or if it is related to business or in real estate, you need to cut down a lot of your unnecessary expenses. If you have investment property, one thing that you could do is shop around and get your interest rate either fixed or something. Let's shop around and find out who is giving you a cheaper interest rate based on your circumstances. And based on your circumstances, if you see that interest rate, sometimes just calling to your own lender and asking for that, they might give you like 50 basis points, 50 cents or even 75 cents reduction just to keep yourself. Most of the time we don't even ask, but if you ask, you might get that reduction. So that is one way of reducing your expenses. The other expenses that you could think about, all the insurance or anything that you have, or even the management fees in real estate, how you can actually negotiate and get a better rate during this time. Remember, every single thing that you can save, every single dollar you can save, that is going to add up to your cash buffer. Similarly, in your personal life, think about what are the things that you could do just to reduce. Perhaps you are eating out too much, you can cut down on that. Remember that the more and more cash that you have, you can take advantage during this time. The third advantage that you can take is that you must be always in the middle. What do you mean by in the middle? It means that if you have not invested in real estate or any kind of investment, then you are on the one side. On the other part is that if you have invested way too much, and if you have make yourself exposed, which is like most of the time 80 or 90% bank loan in real estate, then you are on the other side. The way I advocate is that you must always be in the middle, which means that you have taken investment, of course, but you are not too much exposed, or you are not like did not invest at all. Being in the middle, you are actually safer, because that means you have cash buffer. That means you are actually able to tap into if there is an opportunity comes in. At the same time, if the recession comes little later, you are also well prepared as well. Being in the middle is a significant concept and can make you quite rich during this recession time. The third thing that you would be thinking is diversify. If you do investment is only one sector, particularly in real estate, perhaps you need to think about that how I can do the other 15 or 20%, move it from real estate to in the market or in the business or in crypto, whatever you think is suitable for you. Make sure you do a diversification. Having a diversification is going to give you a significant boost, because when one sector is not performing, sometimes the other sector performs a little better during recession, hence your portfolio is going to grow much more. On the other side, if you are into one particular sector and that sector goes down significantly, it can hurt you a lot. In fact, it might be a situation where you must be forced to sell, and that's not a great situation. The next thing that you can do is provide more service that you get paid for. Whether it's in real estate, if you have the property which is already tenanted, perhaps you can give some incentives so that they can stay. And if they stay in the property, that means the rental income is keep on coming, and it does not give you extra pressure, because if they move out, that means the property will be vacant, and if the property is vacant for a longer period of time, which might create a problem in your cash flow. So ensure that all the properties that you have, you make a proactive measures. Either you reduce the rent a little bit or give some sort of incentive. Perhaps if they need another air condition, you provide that by adding some of this value, so that they take care of the property and they make sure that they stay in that for a longer period of time. During this recession, your property is not vacant. Similarly, if you are working, if you have a day-to-day job, or similarly if you are doing any other business, make sure you provide more service. How you can take care of your customers, how you can provide service, the things that you do, doing something extra, so that you do not lose job at that time. Because if you lose job at that time, it will be very, very difficult to get a job during recession. So the more and more you will provide service, whether in business, whether in real estate, or whether it's in your own job, the better for you, and you are well prepared during recession. because once you are all the extra money, all the things that you are coming during recession, remember things becomes cheap and you would be able to buy at that time in a much cheaper rate if you have cash. And next 2, 3 years, 5 years, when the market goes up again, then your portfolio becomes more, and that's how you make more money. So during recession, the key point here is that you need to buy things in a much discounted rate, much cheaper rate, because everything is in downturn and people actually panic. Also, sometimes people will do sell in a much discounted rate. So if you want to take advantage of a recession, make sure you understand what recession is, how this has happened several times in the history, and what has happened. And as I mentioned that every single time it happened the same thing, where the money is always expensive, borrowing money is expensive, interest rate is up, and there is an unemployment rate that goes shoot up. If you cover all these points, then you realize that you are way ahead on top, and then when the recession gets over and it goes up, then you are in a much better position to make a significant amount of money in this recession times. Because recession times is like planting seeds. The more and more seeds that you are going to plant at that time, it is going to grow. It's going to grow like big trees when the boom is going to happen again. Remember, it's a cycle. In this cycle, recession happens, and after that it's going to come up, it's going to boom again, and then that time you will make much more. Hopefully it makes sense. But remember, money is expensive when you need most, and money is cheap when you don't need. During COVID time, when the interest rate goes down drastically, even though the bank was giving you money like anything, and the interest rate was like 1%, 2% rate. On the other side, that as the interest rate has gone up to 6%, or who knows, maybe even 7%, then the money become really expensive. Getting money is not going to be an easy task. Hopefully you will be well prepared during this recession time, and make sure that you take this advantage. I hope you find this video helpful. If you like this video, consider subscribing my channel, turn the notification bell on so you get to see more videos like this, and it will also help me to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.